why don't you start from the place of talking about your own journey
No,
and
no,
where you
no,
started from?
no. I want to start someplace else. You're a bad brother.
Oh,
You
come
are an
on, man.
amazing human being. You are the black Pope
Yeah,
in the world, and you are an
please.
inspiration and a role model. Yes, we're friends, but other than Ambassador Andrew Young, who everybody knows is my personal hero, there's not many other people who could call, including the President of the United States of America, who I wouldn't stop everything to answer the phone because I know it's important or it's relevant or it's necessary. And you're one of those people. I stop everything. My wife knows, my family knows, to talk to you because and to listen to you. And I want to give you your flowers. I want you to know that you are loved and respected and appreciated, and no good deed shall go unpunished, but do good anyway. And we all just we celebrate you and we appreciate your leadership here and around the world. And thank you for being an inspiration to me because you model what you see. People model what they see. And there's not enough of you around for people to see. And just to do this, to democratize this information for others, is another example of your incredible spirit, your giving heart. You don't want to hold it for yourself. You want to give it to everybody. We were talking. You're like, we gotta share this with the masses, not just the classes. That is classic. Bishop, Reverend, Doctor, Chairman,
Too
T.D.
many
Jakes.
titles.
No, God's
Too many
child.
titles.
No, God's child. And can we
Yeah.
all just give it? Everybody here, listen. Everybody, just give this Bishop Jakes an amen, please. Give us some. Show him. Show those hearts.
I, I see those hearts coming up. I see the wonderful remarks coming up. I'm grateful to God. I'm grateful to you. I have had an amazing time, an amazing calling, working with God's people and beyond God's people, even with the community at large, with leaders, with homeless people, from homeless people to presidents. I've had such a rich life. I told the Lord, uh, let me keep my memories because
Mm,
my memories are the jewels of my soul.
mm,
I got to do so many things
mm.
and continue
Yeah,
to do.
yeah.
So I don't want to talk like I'm done because I'm
No,
feeling good, man. Soon to be 67.
years
Feeling good.
young.
Yeah, 67 years young. And in 2 more years, 2.5 more years, we'll have been in the ministry for 50 years. And it has taken me around the world. It has taken me into shelters.
Yes,
It has
yes,
taken me into business
yes,
rooms and boardrooms
yes.
and churches, large and small. I'm doing a lot of things with leaders. 50 years is a long time. I'm not quite there, but I'm real close to it. I'm
Mm,
reaching after it, and I am grateful to God that He let me live long enough to see my children grown, and I got grandchildren now, and my daughter is preaching the gospel.
mm,
Sarah and
mm,
Cora are both preaching the gospel. I thought it would be my boys, but it turned out to be my
mm,
girls. My
mm.
boys are contributing in other ways and gifted in their own rights. But my girls grabbed that Bible and ran with it, and I'm so excited. Let me give a shout out. Sarah's
Yes,
got a new book out too, and you need to check that out. And I also want to mention she got Woman Evolved coming up, which is when you all saw me pass the torch to her, and she turned the torch into an atomic bomb. So good for her. But I want to talk about you tonight. I don't want to be talking about me. Yeah, I want to talk about you tonight and all of these wonderful people that are on here. Before we get into the book, I don't think anybody knows anything about your story, your start, and how you built into where you are, and what inspired you, and what motivated you as a human being in the world. And by the way, all those platitudes that you gave to me, I reflect them back to you. You are a big-hearted, rich person who didn't have to give back or reach back or teach back or start Operation Hope and all the things that you are doing to help our people and other people and American people and around the world to get up on their feet. But you did that, and I think it's because of your own story. I think our own personal story has a lot to do with why we are selected to work the way we have. And before you were CEOs and a CEO and doing all the things that you're doing, uh, speaking, I had the pleasure, y'all, of hearing this guy speak to a room full of bankers, and he demolished the place. He absolutely demolished the place. It was absolutely amazing. And I messed up and invited him to ILS to talk to our people. He preached on the stage, off the stage, walked the floor. I said, my God, he trying to take my job away from me. But I love you, man. I really do love you. You're a
I love you
great
back at
brother. It's nice to have a conversation with somebody who actually knows you, because you know me and I know you. You
you.
don't have to just hear or watch me on TV or read about me somewhere. A lot of times people assume they know more than they know. So thank you for that close-up view of our hearts. Our hearts are knit together.
Mm,
Our walk is knit together, and our commitment is to
mm.
help people who
Come
are
up.
struggling and help them come up. And I don't know about you, I think the reason that I do what I do, and I am so drawn to people that are hurting or struggling or wounded, is because I know what it is to have a heart bleed. I know what it is to not have enough to eat. I know what it is to feel despair. Even to be totally transparent, I know what it is to take a bottle of pills and cry because you woke up.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm,
I know what all of that is. So all of that is in my preaching and in my living and in my loving and in my caring for people. Anybody can be mean. Anybody can be hateful. Anybody can be obnoxious. But love is the greatest power in the world. Uh, Tell us your story.
well, bottom of the top, very much like your story from West Virginia. In fact, Bishop and my wife, Jatra Bryant, were born in the same small town in West Virginia.
Yeah.
Bishop's story is a little rougher than mine. I didn't have parents who were lynched and all that stuff, although I did have great grandparents who were enslaved. My second great grandfather was in the Union Army, part of the black troops that were unleashed as part of the Emancipation Proclamation as George Young, my second great grandfather. My grandfather was a sharecropper born in 1871 in Mississippi, R.B. Smith. Know your history, everybody. You can find it out on in these ancestry platforms in your DNA. My dad owned his own business. I'm an entrepreneur. My mother's mother was a domestic. She owned a shotgun shack in East St. Louis. Vesta Murray, my mother, Johnny Smith, my dad, my mother, Juanita Smith, God rest her soul, just passed late last year. Thanks for the condolences, by the way, from my mother. She loves you. She meeting you was the highlight of her life. That's all I had to
Mine
do as a son, as
too.
introduced her to you. Um, my mother, Juanita Smith, uh, worked with Donald Douglas Aircraft. And I need the listeners to listen to this now, because if you're working an hourly job and you're making $15, $18 an hour, you got too much month at the end of your money, and you don't think that there's any hope for you, I need you to listen to this. My mother had a high school education, went back to school, Bishop, at age 62, and got her high school equivalency, and marched with cap and gown with 18-year-olds, no shame in this game, and got her high school equivalency. And my mother bought and sold 7 homes, 7. Went
Wow.
to shotgun shack, slavery, great grandmother, domestic grandmother, shotgun shack. It means you can shoot a shotgun from the front lawn through the front door open, not
Yeah.
hit anything as it goes through the house, through the back door, out near where uh, the what do they call it, where the everybody's using the restroom,
Outhouse.
uh, outhouse. Thank you. And
Yeah.
my mother went
I
from
know
that to
all
buying,
about it.
yes, you do, West Virginia. Everything from that to buying her first home in 15502 South Fraley in Compton, California. and then buying 7 homes, 6 homes after that, buying them, selling them, living, and then dying with $1 million net worth, having a will and insurance policy, life insurance policy, so we didn't have to bury her and pay for it, and having assets that were not just on her, that she could give away to whomever she liked at her direction. My mother was so gangster, she put in her will, anybody who disputes this will is cut out of it.
Wow.
I'm gonna repeat that. I'm in my right mind. I know what I'm doing. Anybody who disputes my will, you're disinherited. So my mother was serious. My father had a credit score, Bishop, of 874. That means my mother wasn't black; she was green. I mean,
Yeah.
and so my mother told me she loved me every day of my life. So there's a difference between being broke and being poor. Being broke is economic, but being poor is a disabling frame of mind, a depressed condition of your spirit, and you must vow never, ever, ever to be poor again. Listeners, I want you to hear this now. Is that you see me with this fancy suit, you see Bishop, Dr. Chairman Jakes doing what he does. You think this is easy. Only in the dictionary does the word success come before the word work because it's alphabetical. Whatever you love is going to drive you crazy. Whatever you love is going to challenge you. Rainbows only follow storms. You cannot have a rainbow without a storm first. Don't let the suit fool you. My mom and dad fought over money when I was 4 or 5 years old, and I had to call the police to come break it up over money. We lost our generational wealth, Bishop. We lost our home on Santa Barbara Avenue, Martin Luther King now in LA. We lost the gas station at Normandy and Vernon. Anybody from LA listening to this, write in your comments. You know where this is. It's still there. Gas station on the southeast corner of Vernon and Normandy in LA. We own that gas station. We own an 8-unit apartment building. We bought for $18,000 worth millions of dollars today. We owned our own home. I already mentioned that. Owned the cement contracting business, a nursery, and he lost it all because my dad, Bishop, could make it but couldn't keep it. He confused making money with building wealth. You build wealth in your sleep. We're obsessed with the wrong things. I want that money. I want to get that dollar. I want to get that cash. I want to get that bag. Useless. And didn't realize, Bishop, Chairman, that I say chairman because he's also a businessman. He's also a best-selling author. He's also someone who's won awards for good producing movies, and I mean, multifaceted human being, real estate developer. And he realized his wife is also his business partner, as my mother could have been my dad's business partner. She wasn't just cute; she was smart. But my dad didn't realize that, Bishop. Ambassador Young, our mentor, or my mentor, your friend who loves you,
Yeah, I
said that
love
men and
it.
women fail for, he loved coming to your conference. Men and women fail for 3 reasons: arrogance, pride, and greed. My daddy was not greedy. He was not a mean man, but he was full of pride. Pride kills. And in a relationship, listen now, everybody, there's the only place where the math should not work. 2 plus 2 has to equal 6, 8, or 10 in a relationship. If you're not better together, what are you doing? So my mother was a saver. My dad was a producer. If together they could have been the generation wealth creator, but they didn't get together. So my dad lost some money. My mother went to send my brother to college, and my mother left him because she had 2 more kids at home. She says, if that's the result of the first one, I'm not giving you 2 more to screw up. And we went to go live with her girlfriend. She told me it was my auntie. And I saw my second murder there. Guy selling drugs to try to take care of us with some part-time income. That was about money. Then we went to go to the first house that we owned, and my next door neighbor was a drug dealer. His name was Tweet. And my best friend, who was smarter than me, wanted to be like Tweet, even though I wanted to be like him. And he got shot and killed with Tweet. So by the time I was 9 years old, I saw 1 death and 2 murders, or saw, the death of our net worth and witnessed 2 murder, and it was around the 3rd. So when I was 9 years old, went to school, and there was a white man teaching financial literacy in my classroom who happened to be a banker. So he was a banker who happened to be a white man, be specific about that. I said, what do you do for a living? And how'd you get rich legally?
Legally.
I was dead serious, man. I had never seen somebody with a suit on. It wasn't in white, and unless it was a detective, and it wasn't a good suit, polyester. Man had a business card, Bishop. He was at my school in the middle of the day, which means he was on a salary. He had a business card. He worked on the 16th floor. There was no 16th floor in Compton. It was the 6th floor, and that was a courthouse. So he told me I'm a banker and I finance entrepreneurs. I said, I don't know what an entrepreneur is, but it is legal and you're financing it. I'm going to be one. And that's the guy you're talking to today. I'm an entrepreneur who has 400 employees plus, who's created, we invested $40.5 billion, that's with a B, in underserved neighborhoods. By the way, honored that our nonprofits are now partners. I think you're the largest. I think you're the biggest donation that Operation Hope in 32 years has received from another Black organization.
Wow.
I never said that to you.
I didn't
See,
know that.
this is how unselfish this guy is. He took money he got from another source and decided it was better, we're better together in relationship. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter if it's partnership, friendship, it doesn't matter what kind of relationship. And said, no, you know what? Break this off. You can do this piece better than me, John. And I often say, well, you can do this piece better than me, Bishop. So we're not insecure. And
No.
as a result of that, we have something to give, not something to get. And so this man made a $600,000, about to issue a press release on it. His foundation has made a $600,000 contribution, him and Wells Fargo, to the work of Operation Hope, which is the largest financial literacy coaching organization on the ground in America. 300 offices, getting people's credit score up, debt down, savings up, so that the bank can say yes. Now, but all that started when I was 10 years old. That dream of becoming America's financial coach, civil rights movement, from civil rights to silver rights, from the streets to the suites. That all started as a young man, and I had the luck of that versus the unluck of trauma, which a lot of people have, having a negative experience with white people. I had a positive one. So, and I'm an entrepreneur. I built and sold, bought and sold, as you know, a company for $120 million, one of many companies that I have, real estate company, nothing to do with my nonprofit. By the way, folks listening to this, keep your nonprofit and your for-profit separate. Chinese walls up between them, or you'll get in trouble. So we're here to talk about the civil rights issue of this generation, which is financial literacy. This is the civil rights issue of this generation. And that book is the #1 book on economics in the world right now on Amazon for a Black man, by the way. It's not a Black book. It's a good book that happens written by a Black man. And everybody else is getting to know I want you to. This is my first conversation on this
Wow.
book with anybody. I did mainstream
Wow.
media. I did a CNBC a couple of days ago, but I'm not talking to anybody. I'm doing the Breakfast Club. I'm doing Roland Martin. I'm doing all that stuff coming up. But the first touch in
I
our
get to be
community,
first. Yay.
I'm deeply honored, right? But we're sitting in a moment in history. But history does not feel historic when you're sitting in it. It just feels like another day. And what I need the listeners and viewers to understand about the magic of this moment, important, this is not coming back. If you're Black watching this, there's a timer on your opportunity in the short term. In other words, you can create your opportunity for life. We know that. That's God's spirit. But the world has put a timer, and I call it the third reconstruction, 2020 to 2030, and some folks trying to make it 2020 to 2026, 2025, cutting off this, cutting off that, stopping this, stopping that. And I need for you to step in your destiny. Because if your day is not about God or love, your day is about money. And we don't understand money. The rules are published. I'm about to shut up now. The rules are published and the playing field is level. We kill it. The arts, professional sports, faith, politics, government service. We kill it. We're not dumb and we're not stupid. We are brilliant, but it's what we don't know that we don't know that's killing us, but we think we know. This capitalism game is a whole other game. Slavery was
It is
about money.
it is a game, and it's a game that we don't talk about. You can have a PhD and still not be able to handle your money well. We don't talk about it. Schools often don't teach about it. They're starting to now, entrepreneurial things and business things, but you can be educated and still not be prepared. Financial literacy for all is the name of the book. Everybody keeps typing on the line, what is the name of the book?
It's in the comments.
Financial Literacy for All. And the other thing that you touched on that I think is real important, that we can work together. We can work together, and we need more models of working
Yes.
together instead of ripping each other's ideas off and running astray or trying to tear one another down or being a crab in a barrel. And I'm so happy to be the first person to have this conversation with you. I didn't know that. And that our foundation made the largest donation. I didn't know that. So I'm learning some stuff together with these people that I did not know. What I did know is that you've got boots on the ground helping people figure out how to get up. And a lot of people are committing suicide because they think they can't get up. A lot of people are having nervous breakdowns because they can't get up. The leading cause of divorce in this country is over economics. And we're not talking about being rich, we're talking about being stable, being where you can go in the grocery store and get what you want. We're talking about being able to send your kids to the school of their choice. We're not talking about Rolls Royces. We're
Mm-mm.
talking about the commodity of being able to invest in appreciating assets rather than depreciating assets. We're talking about having more in you than you have on you.
On you.
We're talking about the kinds of things that are so important for us to hear over and over and over again because we're trying to break the curse of, as a pastor, I have people coming to the altar all the time asking for prayer, believing God for a car, believing God for a house. They think that's a miracle. You can get a house without a miracle. It doesn't take a miracle to get a house.
The
It
credit
takes a
score.
good credit score and a good income, and you can get a house. Let's part some Red Seas and ask God to do that. Let's walk on some water and ask God to do that. Let's ask God to heal some sick bodies and deliver cancer and do things that we can't do. But these are things that are within our reach to do. I'm so glad if you just joined in. I'm talking to the author. It's not his first book, but it may be his greatest book, Financial Literacy for All by John Hope Bryant. You can get it anywhere. You can get it on Amazon. You can go to any store anywhere and get it and get this information. And don't just get the book if you're not going to apply the wisdom in the book. Getting around people that are full of knowledge and full of wisdom is very important for upward mobility. Eavesdropping on these kinds of conversations, just injecting into your DNA, does not take away from your faith.
Mm.
Does not take away from your belief in God. These things are not contradictory one to the other. Solomon was one of the richest men in the world and also one of the wisest men in the world. Abraham had so much material and so much wealth. We get to the New Testament and we lose sight of the fact that God can bless you and God can bless your life and you can still be a Christian. You don't have to choose. Christianity is not just meant for people who are homeless. It's not just meant for people who are down and out. It is for everybody. And the blessing of the Lord maketh rich and addeth no sorrow to it. So says the scriptures. But if we're not around the right people, if we don't hear the right conversations, if we don't get the right information, we never get better. And so we're left in the sewer talking about people, gossiping, beating up on our wives, slapping our children, frustrated on the inside. Women out there having to work two jobs just to provide groceries, especially in inflation. The fierce urgency
The
of
now.
now. What is it about right now? For me, when I look at AI and all the good things that it brings, I also realize that we are slated to lose 70 million jobs. They will be replaced by 80 million jobs. But if we're not prepared for those jobs, we're going to fall through those cracks. Crime goes up, violence goes up, murder goes up, alcoholism goes up. This is a deep thing. It's a multifaceted thing. Spousal abuse, child abuse goes up. When you have to leave your house, your children in a house alone, all kinds of terrible things happen because you can't afford daycare. This is a very practical thing, and I know we want to spiritualize everything, but this is very, very practical. What what do we begin to do? What can we begin to say to our children that changes the trajectory of their lives? People who are going through your program, 50% more likely to go to college and 75% more likely to graduate. Why is that?
By the way, that's those are kindergartens. That quote you just that statistic you just said, the kindergarten kids in Atlanta public schools who get a Hope Kids account funded by $50. Sorry, without the money, just an account. Reports have shown they're 50% more likely to go to college because they're connecting education with aspiration. They're 75% more likely to graduate from college once you put some money in it. And we've now opened 8,000 accounts for every kindergarten kid in Atlanta public schools. Now we're going to wrap financial literacy and a mentor around that experience so kids can model what they see. Because if you hang around 9 broke people, you'll be the 10th. Now, you said something when you were talking that's very, well, all things you said is powerful. But let me tell you about this moment. Please, everybody, listen to me. Tell your friends to text right now and tell them to join this live. If it was Beyonce, you'd be on it. If it was Jay-Z, you'd be on it. If it was a rapper, you'd be on it. If it was your favorite singer, you'd be on it. If it was a sports show, you'd be on it. Tell your friends to make smart sexy right now. We've been making dumb sexy for way too long. We've dumbed down and celebrated it. We got to make normal sexy. Tell your friends to join this live right now or watch this on replay. Here's what I want you to tell them. If I don't like me, I'm not going to like you. If I don't feel good about me, I'm not going to feel good about you. If I don't respect me, I don't have a clue how to respect you. If I don't love me, I don't have any idea how to love you. Because hurt people hurt people. And here's the big one. If I don't have a purpose in my life, I'm going to make your life a living hell. Because whatever goes around comes around. Listen to me some more. Listen, you thought this was about money. Money's emotional. Money ties into your self-esteem or lack thereof. So if you don't have any self-esteem, if you don't love yourself, you will wear your assets on your rear end. You figure out what I was about to say if I wasn't in church with Bishop. Now,
Don't do that. Don't do
no,
that.
no, 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 no. But I can say what you can't. This is real talk now. People need to hear. You're too kind to say this. I'm telling you this. If black people don't get our act together, our net worth by 2053 will be zero. But I don't need to go to 2053. Let me tell you, by the way, Latinos is 2073. Zero net worth. If we don't start buying homes.
Let me stop and correct something. Somebody just typed on the line, money is the root of all evil. You misquoted
No.
the scripture. The scripture says the
Love
love of
of money.
money is the root of all evil. So let's quote the scripture right. The love of money is the root of all evil. Money isn't the root of all evil. It's the attitude we have toward it that is the root of all evil. So I just wanted to correct that. Go ahead.
Absolutely. Well, let me build on that. So if you're a good person, money and power just makes you a better, nicer, good person. It amplifies who you are. You're a bad person. You're an evil person. You're a jerk. It amplifies who you are. So even I'm gonna say this in a capitalist way. Even if you want to distribute money like a socialist, you got to first collect it like a capitalist. Somebody says, "Well, I want to work for the government." Where do you think that money came from? Taxpayers. Somebody says, "I hate rich people." No, you don't. You hate rich people until you become rich. What you hate is a game system, a system that you believe is rigged against you where you cannot succeed. You'd be a fantastic capitalist because you'd be generous, you'd be philanthropic, you would give as much as you got. Because you understand the cycle of life, you know where you came from. We need to see capitalists that look like you. There are 6 kinds of capitalists. 6. Somebody's got a gig job. This is all this in the book, by the way. Somebody's got a gig job. Somebody's got a real job, meaning set hours. Somebody's on a salary. Somebody's in a C-suite, the top level of corporation. Somebody who's a small business owner. Somebody who's an entrepreneur. Now, what do you mean, John, that I'm a capitalist down here? Well, because you've got human capital. It's not like it's not down here, it's just different. You got human capital. You've got talent, and you're trading your human capital for a paycheck. That's trading it for a paycheck, but you have less risk at the lower the lower levels of capitalism. You can go whenever you like at the lowest level. You can go with at a set hour at the second level. You can go at a defined hour at the third level. You can go until your boss calls you at the fourth level. And then you say, I'm going to become a business owner. Well, now you have a franchise or something that has a set business plan. And then the craziest part is an entrepreneur, which is what I am, where you're creating something out of whole cloth. God made you to be fantastic, to be great, to be amazing. You can't give to the church if you don't have anything to give from. So I want you to understand that this system can be used for good or for evil, just like there's good debt and bad debt. There's no billionaire that ever got there without good debt. There's no country.
You know, one of the first things I did when I came to Dallas was rented the Dallas. It was then called the Dallas Convention Center. It's now called the K. Bailey Hutchison Center. Threw a huge party for homeless people, fed them, had clothes for them, had a job fair for them. I even ended up hiring some of them. They ended up being homeowners. This is about doing, not talking, not just dancing, but doing, not just talking, but teaching, training people up. And I'm so amazed by what you said about your mother, because one of the first gifts I ever remember my mother giving me was a passbook savings.
That's right.
A savings book. Yeah. It was called a passbook to Kanawha Valley Bank in Charleston, West Virginia. We had to catch the bus and ride downtown. You couldn't tell me I wasn't somebody with my $25 going into that savings account. Parents set the tone and the trajectory for how we think about things in life. While other people were buying toys, she was giving me a passbook savings account. That started my paper route. And that started me putting money in from the paper route, not just spending it, but saving it.
That's
and
right.
I can't say enough. When you were talking about your mother a while ago, I loved her the moment I saw her. I love everybody's mother because I lost my own.
Mm.
But before my mother died, my mother had bought up almost every house on the street. They renamed the street and called it Jake Street. And my mother, when she got ready to die, she had Alzheimer's, and she couldn't even remember the houses anymore, but she was still collecting rent all the way down to the end. Born in Alabama, went to school with Coretta Scott, later Coretta Scott King, had 14 siblings, sleeping in 2 beds, one at the head, one at the foot, crisscross. Yep. It does not matter where you start. It matters where you finish. And she loved Jesus. And she had, you don't have to choose between the two.
Right.
The fact that you love Jesus does not mean that you cannot move up into the world, in life. The Bible said, go into all the world and preach the gospel to every living creature. But you can't go into first class if you don't have a first class ticket. And you can't go into somebody with just on here from Brazil. It costs money to go to Brazil. If the Lord wants to send you out as a missionary, you need capital. So somebody has to fund your dream, no matter what your dream is. And they're asking again, it's financial literacy for all. And somebody said they just got it. It's by John Hope Bryant. It's out right now, and it's available, and it can tell you way more than we can tell you in these few minutes. You need to get your hands on this book, and you need to find out more. Go to his website, learn about it. He will walk you through step by step, answer questions. His people, his team are boots on the ground. What we are doing through technology, what we are doing through good soil entrepreneurship, what we are doing through television, what we are doing through training people. Do you not know 42% of African Americans own their own home in comparison to 75% of the general populace? In my church, 80% of our church own their own home.
Boom.
80.
Boom.
80. And they still shout, and they still dance, and they still love Jesus, and they're still going to heaven. But they own their own home, and they can't get evicted as long as they pay for it. They can't get evicted out of their house. Train up a child in the way that he should go, and when he's old, he shall not depart from it. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I just want to jump in and say that.
No, and look, this is a wonderful. The Bible suggests, "Be hot or be cold." I said this at
Right.
ILS. If you're lukewarm, I'll spat you out. Translation. My translation. Even God does not favor mediocrity. We want you passionate. Well, I'm going to be very practical here. Bishop loves when I get practical. We're going to make some
Yeah.
millionaires tonight. Write this down. We're about to make you a millionaire within 5 years. Write this down. There's nothing magical in what I'm about to say. You don't need to be a celebrity. You don't need to have inheritance. This is all you need. First thing I want you to need is to change. What I want you to do is change your mindset. The reason I was talking to you strong, Bishop talking to you loving, is that both of those things are necessary in a family. A parent, I'd rather you respect me and learn to like me, children, than like me and never respect me. So you need love and discipline and structure. So 3 mindsets: surviving mindset, thriving mindset, winning mindset. Too many of us have a surviving mindset, which means you're an expert in what you're against, not what you're for. Change your mindset. That's what Bishop's doing every week with, and now his daughter and the family. They're changing their biggest assets you have, which is from the neck up. Number 2, I want you to understand there's 5 pillars of success. I'm going to be very practical about how to make you a millionaire in 5 years. 5 pillars. As much education as you can shove down your throat. Understanding financial literacy, how wealth works, family structure and resiliency, self-esteem and confidence. That's why I talk so much about self-esteem. It's different from confidence. You can be confident, which makes you competent, but you still have low self-esteem. Hello, because we came out of this environment of repression in America where people push down your self-esteem so they could control you. I need you to unleash your self-love, not arrogance, self-love. Because if I don't like me, I'm not gonna like you. I said that earlier. 5th one, role models and environment. You model what you see. You see very naturally, Bishop and I went through all 5 of those things without any, he didn't know I was gonna say that.
No.
If you have 3 or 4 or 5 of those things, you're gonna be successful. I haven't got to the millionaire part. I'm telling you right now how you be successful. 3, 4, or 5 of those things. That's from my book, Up From Nothing. You can read that book to get those 5 pillars. The memo is the 3 mindsets. Now, here's how you become a millionaire. Write this down. You're making $38,000 a year. You have 3 children. You're a teacher. I want you to go to my financial coaches. I want you to go to Bishop's people and his foundation. I want you to tell them that John and Bishop told me about the Earned Income Tax Credit. Now, if you say, what's that? Congratulations, you're approved. Because everybody who works in America is approved for EITC for working. It's not a handout, it's a hand up. You make $38,000 a year, you have 3 children, you work. The government owes you about $6,500 cash. If you've never filed, it's retroactive for 3 years. That's almost $20,000. That's more money than somebody making $38,000 a year has ever seen in their life at one time. All you gotta do is amend your tax return any time of the year for free, and you get a money wired into your bank account. We're gonna get you a bank account if you don't have one, at a bank of your choice. Now, second thing I want you to do is I want you to get a will, and you can download one on the internet. It could be a 1-pager, and I want you to proclaim your intention. Third thing I want you to do is get an insurance policy, a life insurance policy, and don't tell me you can't, because it takes $2, $3, $4, $5 a month to get a policy at $25,000, $50,000 value. For $100,000 value, about $15 a month. Listen now, $1 million policy is less than $100 a month. $1 million policy. If you're in good health, it's $50 a month. That means when you pass on, you're creating generational wealth and you're making sure that you pass without liabilities. But I'm not even gotten to the millionaire part. I want you to take that money we just helped you do. I want you to go to my coaches, and your credit score is probably screwed up because half of black folks, none of us were taught capitalism, Bishop. Half of us have a credit score below 620. Half of us, not poor people. We got to keep the shame out of this conversation. Shame has to be removed from this conversation. So everybody's got a problem. That doesn't make you a problem. Everybody can make a mistake. That doesn't make you a mistake. A saint is a sinner that got up. We're angels with dirty faces. Come to us. We're going to pull up your credit report. What's that? I don't know. It's like a bus accident, that credit report. We all have a nice laugh. You know you didn't pay your bill. We're going to challenge the credit bureaus, Bishop, on that credit issue and raise the credit. And within 30 days, if they don't confirm that, Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax, they must remove it. When they do that, Bishop, it's a 30-point pop in your credit score on average. 90% of the time, they remove it. So now you're at 590. We got you to 620 credit score. We keep working with you. We get you to 680. credit score. Now we get to 680, striking distance is 700. By the way, if you live in a 580 credit score neighborhood, you live to 61 years old. Hello. Social Security at 65. If you live in a 700 credit score neighborhood, you live to 81 years old. 20-year difference within 15 minutes. Back to the $1 million net worth. I want you to take that credit score to the bank of your choice. Take that EITC money as your down payment. Buy a home. I want you to buy the worst home on the best block or the best home on the worst block in the hood. I want you to buy that home, rehab it with your friends, somebody you know, give them that income for plumbing, heating, electrical, landscaping, painting. Do it on the weekends by yourself. Buy that home, live in it. Take the equity from that home within 2 years. It'll appreciate slightly. And buy another home in the hood, centrally located real estate in the inner city. An inner city in France is called Paris. An inner city in the UK is called London. We live in an invaluable real estate. We're giving it away. Buy 3 homes over 5 years. I want modest homes, no million, no, nothing fancy. In the hood, DA-HOOD. Take the other 2 homes, rent them out. Buy them, rehab it, rent it. Do not sell. You do that little thing I just said, and you'll be a millionaire within 5 years. Do nothing else. And then make a contribution back to your church, tied back to the good work the bishop is doing to say thank you. And when you pass on, maybe put in your will that some of your philanthropy will go to helping the church do good work. Like everybody else, by the way, in the world. What I just explained to you is how everybody else works.
And if it is certain types of policies, you can borrow capital from the policy, don't have to pay taxes on the money in the policy. And if you don't pay it back, it'll come out of your death benefit. A lot of you think you're in a crunch that you're not in. You have more at your disposal than you think. If we can, the thing I love about real estate, it generally appreciates in value and it appreciates in your sleep. It helps you to grow. It helps you to go forward. It gives you something to pass on to your children. It sets a new standard for the family. And when you start investing into real estate, it is one of the best investments in the world. Laundromats are great investment. Senior livings are great investment. And so everybody's not in the stock market. You don't have to be in the stock market to invest in something that's going to take you to the next level. Listen, we can't give it to you all tonight. We want to give it to you all tonight, but we want to get you started. If you just joined in, I am talking to a financial guru, an expert in his own right, who grew up in the hood. So he relates to both sides. He's just as comfortable in the boardroom as he would be on the corner. He understands what the struggle is all about. Very few people are talking to us in our language. Financial literacy for all. It's not a black thing. It's not a white thing. It's not a brown thing. It's a green thing. If anybody watching us, you don't have to be black to be broke. You don't have to be black to be in debt. Most Americans are 2 paychecks away from being evicted out of their homes. All of Americans are all colored. Rainbow makes no difference. Truth is truth. What I read this, everybody had heard it but me. And this saying, it said, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. And it just got in my head. It blew my mind. This truth is truth. It will work for anybody. You can choose to participate or be at the mercy of the people who did. And most of us grew up at the mercy of the people who did. We cleaned their houses. We made their bed. We were one of the first people who came to this country with a sign that said, we'll work for food. We'll work for food. We worked and we got food. Chitlins and hog maws and pig feet and stuff like that. Did not get capital. So we were freed. When we got free, we knew how to work, but we didn't know how to save and we didn't know how to handle money. This is a generational curse. Ignorance is a generational curse because an ignorant person cannot raise an intelligent child, say they escape or break away or somebody adopt them and take them in. And this makes all the difference in the world. You see, when that old song, Shake Your Money Maker, wasn't below your waist. It's right up here in your head. As a man, let me give it to you in Bible language. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. The book is Financial Literacy for All. It's for everybody. We have talked about it from the context of our experience because we are Black. But this book does not discriminate. It does not discriminate. It will work for absolutely anybody. Women need it. Men need it. The days of raising women and thinking that they don't need to know this sort of thing is over. Women are leading the way. They're going into business more readily than any other people group, particularly Black women, but they don't have access to capital. Get this book so that you can get the access to capital to be sustainable. Even if you don't get rich, if you can just get stable, if you can just get where you can go in the grocery store without a calculator on your phone, if you can just get to the point that you can get safe care for your kids and not leave them at home to the mercies of other people, if you can just help somebody to have a better future. One of the things that you and I are going to be at the Milken Institute.
That's right.
Our foundation gave $1 million for HBCU students to have an 8-week course at the Milken Institute. Only Ivy League people go to that kind of institute. But we paved the way because if we can inject truth into the minds of young people and get them started now, we can change the trajectory. The trajectory doesn't look good for our community right now. And so we have to speak to it. I know you don't want to talk about it, but if you were drowning in a pool and I didn't try to reach in and pull you out, then shame on me. And yes, I want you to be saved. And yes, I want you to fast and pray and love Jesus. But when you get through fasting, I want you to be able to pay for a meal.
That's it. Amen.
Just
Amen.
practical stuff. Practical stuff. Listen, we can't give you all of it tonight, but it's in the book. Most people think that we won't read. You can get audio books. You can get books that are read to you. You can put it in your ear while you're working out and listen at this material. Even if you're illiterate, you don't have to be denied this information. You can get this in ebook forms. You can get this wherever books are sold. You don't have time to go to the store. They will bring it to your house. You can get on Amazon right now, and it'll be on your front porch before you know it. It is the #1 best-selling book in its class on Amazon. And so I had to share some of it with you tonight. I won't try to give all of it to you tonight, but I'm so thankful for who you are, John. I'm thankful for how you loved your mother. I'm thankful that Sarita and I spend time with you and Shadra, and I know how you love your wife. This dude here loves his wife. It's all in his eyes, it's all in his face, it's everywhere. I've seen it. My wife and his wife and he and I vacationed together. We spent time together. He's a good person. He's a good person. And I thought, why would you let a good person have a good word that would help out good people and not share it with you? And don't worry, Sunday, I'm going to be back preaching. I haven't turned into something else or somebody else or anything else. I'm still preaching the gospel. And if you don't believe it, log in Sunday morning and you're going to get an earful of that. But tonight we wanted to give you an earful of something that will secure you, make you safe, bring down violence. I have never seen anybody mug anybody who had to go to work in the morning. If you get resources in your life, it can change your life. I love you. I love you, John. I thank you for your time. He's got so much wisdom. He can talk on any level to anybody, but thank you for bringing it down home to us and turning it into hot bologna so we could get it and digest it and incorporate it into our lives. I encourage you to share this with everybody you can. Share this link. Send it to somebody. Share this link. Forward it to somebody. I don't care. This is not proprietary information. This is not exclusive information. Anybody can have this information. Have some kind of conversation with your children about resources. Have some kind of conversation in your family with a plan. There is nothing as sexy as a man with a
Plan.
plan.
That's right.
I know you're cute, but besides all of that, beauty
Mm-hmm.
fades, muscles drop,
Mm-hmm.
tattoos become illegible with wrinkles.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have a future where you're safe, if the kids don't take care of you in your old age, you can take care of yourself. And that's a pretty good feeling. Thank you, John, so much. I love you, bruh. I love every one of you that's on the air tonight. I'm so grateful to be with you. And whenever I have something good, I like to share it with you. I think the very world of you. I have given you the biggest part of my life, almost 50 years
Mm-hmm.
out of 66. I have been on the wall, big churches, little churches, small churches, Africa, Australia, Nigeria, all around the world, sharing the glorious gospel, doing business, teaching
Yeah.
faith, making films, doing everything I can do. Don't you die with anything in you that you could be. Every dream
Mm-hmm.
in you, you are multifaceted. You are fearfully and marvelously made. Some of you haven't even begun to discover things that you don't even think mean anything. You can take cupcakes and turn it into a company.
Mm-hmm.
You might not have a degree. You can take plumbing and turn it into a business. My father turned a janitorial service into a business and hired 52 people. You've got something to work with. Stop letting people look down on you and talk down on you just because you don't have what they have. You have something to work with. I love you. I love you. I love you. Thank you, my friend.
Bishop, I want to say this as we wrap up, and thank you so much. I could listen to you all day. I want everybody listening to this to leave with inspiration. I want you to know that Bishop and I have come from the bottom and made it to the top. And we're the same person we were, just hopefully wiser and nicer at the top. Still accessible, still here for you. Here's what I want you to know. There's two things. It's bookends. You go in the average neighborhood we have, you see a check casher next to a payday loan lender, next to a rent-to-own store, a title lender, liquor store, a pawn shop. That's a 580 credit score neighborhood. 700 credit score neighborhood, 15 minutes apart is nirvana. That's what your goal is to move your credit score 100 points. This book's going to help you do it, and it's going to stabilize your life. Now, I started out by saying some bad news about Black net worth, and that should concern you. Here's some good news. A saint is a sinner that got up. Rainbows only follow storms. And this country cannot succeed without you. It has never happened in the history of the world. It's demographically, it's never happened in the history of the world that this country cannot continue to be a superpower and the economic power in the world without the diversity of her people becoming economically sound, wealth creators, and financially literate. They're not enough. By the way, not a racial comment I'm making here. We're going to drop the mic on this. This is not a racial comment. It's math. I like math because it doesn't have an opinion, just like Bishop said. There are not enough college educated, successful white men to drive GDP, gross domestic product, the wealth of the country for the next 30 years. That's not a racial comment. In 1950, America was 90% white, 1952. Today, America is basically black and brown 50%. The top is trying to retire. They're trying to chill. God bless you. The bottom now needs to replace them on the field. This is why I'm saying this is a moment that will never come again. This is an inflection point. It's a moment in history. It's also a chance for you to be relevant. You don't want anybody to give you a handout. You want a hand up, don't you? By the way, put in the comments. Tell them how much you love this session. But I want you to understand this is the moment. I'm done now. We're done. If an hour of this, we haven't filled you up. I don't know what else we can do. You got to do this ultimately for yourself. But God made a moment and an opportunity for you to help America for the next 100 years continue to be the leader in the free world, but with you versus in spite of you.
Listen, I'm going to do something that I feel is important. I'm going to close it out with a word of prayer. I want to pray for people who just feel worn out
Mm,
emotionally, mentally, financially. Some of the comments are coming in saying, I'm sick,
mm,
I'm
mm.
physically ill. Let me tell you something. Health trumps wealth all in the head. You need to get better so you can do some of these things. Whether it is mental health, physical health, or financial health. It's all health. Brethren, I wish above all things that you prosper and be in good health as your soul does prosper. Heavenly Father, we put in your hands the dreams of your people. Somebody listening at us has got a dream, can't figure out how to fund it, can't find anybody to get behind it, but something that we said tonight ignited a spark of hope in them. I pray, God, in the name of Jesus, that you
Yes,
would open up doors for them
yes, Lord.
and make ways for
Yes,
them.
Lord.
Somebody's about to be evicted. They need a touch from you. They need your hand. They need you to help them to think differently about themselves. They've never heard people talk like this
Mm,
before. Somebody in here has gotten a divorce because they worked themselves to death and they didn't spend time with each other, and it's gotten in the way of their relationship. Whether they are dealing with the illness, dealing with an emotional illness, stressed out, anxiety, can't sleep, suicidal, depressed at the end of their rope, I hope they sense the excitement and the passion that is in this conversation and they climb out with it. If you brought Joseph out of the pit they threw him in,
mm,
you can bring us out the pit that life has thrown us in.
mm,
I come against
mm,
every pit
mm,
that we have fallen into. They threw Joseph in a pit that used to be a well that had dried up, and somebody's life has dried up and they can't even see how to get out.
mm,
God began to pull those people up and let this be the ladder that they climb out with, the rope that they climb out with, that ignites a passion and invigorates a dream. Thank you tonight, Lord,
mm.
for John Hope Bryant, his life, his wife, all that he's doing, all that he set his hands to do. Bless him to be a blessing to other people. Every office, he's got offices all over the country that we can walk into and bring our bills and bring our situations, and we can get treated like we go to the emergency room about our bodies, like we go to the therapist about our mind. We've not had anybody that we could talk to about our money, but you are putting in our hands the ability to find some place to go. Let them go
Mm,
on the web right now and look up Operation Hope and find out all the places
mm,
around them that they can go and somebody can nurse them back to health again. And that person that texted on the line and said, I am sick in my body, I pray, God, by your power, that healing and deliverance would come in their life, that they would not allow the symptoms to pronounce death. You said live and not die, and we believe you for it. In Jesus' name, amen.
Hey,
Go with God,
hold
and
on.
God will go with you.
Bishop, you inspired me. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No. Anybody listening to this who is facing eviction, I can't solve all your problems. I can't solve all your problems. Bishop said he saw some people saying they're facing eviction. I assume it's an apartment. By the way, I'm the largest minority owner of single-family rental homes in America. My other business, Promise Homes Company. But at Operation Hope, if you're facing eviction, for 10 people, the first 10 people who email with, and you got to tell your story, you got to hide some documentation. But if $1,000 will change your life, it gets you out of eviction, and it provides you going to financial coaching and counseling at Operation Hope, I'm going to give 10 people $1,000 and a copy of this book for sure. I'll give you all my books. The first 10 people to email bill.fair, B-I-L-L dot F-A-I-R at operationhope.org, and you make a case. You don't need to write us a book. Make a case for how this $1,000 gift to you will get you out of a situation where you're going to lose your housing and will pivot you, and you're going to go into financial coaching and counseling, which is free, to get your life on a different trajectory. That's my gift to you as a result of tonight. I can't do everything, but I can do that.
Thank you for that gift, that generous heart you got. I don't know how you get it to fit in that suit as big as it is. Your heart is bigger than your whole body. Thank you for doing that. Take advantage of this, y'all. Have a great night. Go to bed and get up, go to work in the morning and work your way up to the top. God bless.
Love you.
Take care.
Love you.
Love you.
Peace and light.